Hello everyone, are you ready for some MLB picks for today, Wednesday, August 30? I hope you are pumped for this live stream. I am excited to talk to you again. And a special hello to my friends Brian Watson and Anthony Rizzuto, who are there for the start of this live stream. All right, today I am planning to talk to you about 4 MLB games where I feel like there could be a good bet. Okay, so let's get started. Well, first of all, let's recap what happened yesterday. First of all, the free pick. As you know, I'm not a big fan of taking big favorites, but one of my biggest exceptions is when the famous and money-making scoring drought betting system qualifies. And yesterday, this system told us to bet the Mariners, even though the odds were low, against the Oakland A's, and unfortunately, that bet lost. Now, this system, over its past 36 bets, has produced an incredible 33-3 record. Now, that includes the Seattle loss from yesterday. So we have still racked up a lot of profit with the scoring drought system. And I'll say a few words about this system again later in this live stream, so don't go away. And then we also I only found one more good value wager in baseball yesterday. It's quite rare that there's only two. So the premium pick that was shared at mjpicks.com was under 7 runs in the Milwaukee versus Chicago Cubs game, and that ended 1-0 in favor of the Cubs, so that was a great win for us. All right, so are you ready for the first pick of the day, which qualifies under a betting system called the snapped winning streak? And let me review the rules with you. And I'll also show you the performance of this system this season. So the snapped winning streak system recommends fading the road team if they lost their previous game after winning at least 5 in a row. All right, so let's verify that it applies to one of the teams today. Let me share my screen and show you the Milwaukee Brewers schedule. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of W's in green on this screen. In fact, the Milwaukee Brewers won 9 games in a row before seeing this great streak end yesterday. Now, they are indeed on the road today. So, if you follow those rules, you need to fade the Brewers, which explains the first pick for today, which is the Chicago Cubs money line. Earlier this morning, the best odds were plus 109. Maybe the best you can get is plus 100, plus 105. I'm not sure if the line has changed within the last hour or so. All right, so let me share with you some more information about this game and why I like it, because as I've often told you, I don't bet my system picks blindly. Okay, I always analyze the games deeper, and sometimes I reject some games, sometimes I don't. It really depends on my own take about the game. All right, so in this case, so I wanted to tell you about how this system has done this year. Let me show you my Excel spreadsheet that tracks the performance of each of my 19 MLB systems. Now, this is the snapped winning streak. You can see the most recent betting recommendations. So the last one here. So we had 27 betting recommendations that generated, let's see at the top, 17 wins. So we have a 17-10 record with average odds 1.94 in decimal. If you are more familiar with American odds, that's the same as minus 106. Now, if you take into account the odds of each of those 27 bets, and if you pretend as if you risk 1 unit per wager, Then you can see the cumulative profit in the column in blue. You would have made a 5.65 unit profit. And in terms of ROI, the return on investment, so far this season, we have a plus 20.9% ROI if you are following this system blindly. So it has done a very great job. Now, Brandon Woodruff will start for the Brewers. Obviously, that's a bit of a concern if you are betting the Cubs because he's a pretty strong pitcher. He missed 4 months of action due to shoulder inflammation, and he has looked pretty good since coming back on the field. In fact, he has made 4 starts since returning, and he has allowed 2, 4, and 1 run respectively. So overall, if you calculate his ERA in those 4 games, it translates into a 3.57 ERA, which is pretty good. It's not necessarily spectacular, but it's pretty solid, I have to admit. Now, the Cubs will counter with Kyle Hendricks, who is a pretty crafty veteran who knows how to get the job done, even though he has low strikeout rates. But still, he has allowed more than 3 runs just once in his last 8 outings. So again, he does not strike out many batters, but he still knows how to get some outs and allow few runs. The Cubs have been on fire lately. Since July 18, they have a 27-12 record. They are on a roll, and they are really in the thick of the playoff race right now. All right. Also, I wanted to mention one last thing. Both of today's starters have done a pretty fine job against today's opponent in their career. So Woodruff, when facing the Cubs in his career, he owns a 3.14 ERA. And meanwhile, Kyle Hendricks, in his career against the Brewers, owns a 3.51 ERA. So that could be a tight game. So I'm going to side with the home underdog in this case. They are on a roll. And to me, there's more uncertainty surrounding Brandon Woodruff since he's coming back from an injury. Even though he has looked pretty good, he is not invincible. So who knows what's going to happen. So I prefer to side with the home underdog, especially given the fact that the snap winning streak system really believes that the Cubs are going to pull it off. All right, so again, this is for those of you who joined maybe a bit later. So again, the first pick for today is the Chicago Cubs as slight home underdog against the Brewers. All right, now we have 2 teams that fit under a betting system called the blowout number 1. Let me explain to you how it works. So bet a team that won its previous game by a margin of 8+ runs if they are facing the same opponent. Again, give me just a few seconds to remind you that all of my 19 MLB betting systems were developed after analyzing data on 7 full seasons. Okay, so those rules are not coming out of nowhere. Those have been proven to be like the optimal rules to follow to make the maximum profit. All right, so can you guess? So like I said, there are 2 teams today that fit under the blowout number 1. So let me tell you which 2 teams we're talking about and whether I am actually placing a bet or not. So can you guess these 2 teams? The first one, maybe I could share my screen quickly. Take a look at yesterday's score. First, I wanted to talk about this one on the right-hand side of your screen. The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Marlins by a 9-point margin. And since they are facing the same opponent again, we need to be betting the Tampa Bay Rays, which is my second pick, and I can tell you right away that it is an official pick. I did place a wager personally on the Rays. And the best odds I could get were minus 115. If you prefer decimal odds, that's the same as 1.87. All right, so why do I like this bet? Okay, so, well, there is one source of concern here. I know that Zach Eflin is starting for the Rays, and that's a good thing for us if you're betting the Rays. But in his career in Miami, he has struggled quite a bit. He has a 1-5 record along with a mediocre 6.43 ERA. I was quite surprised to see that. Now in August, he has done a very solid job. He has 4 great starts out of 5 outings. He did very well against the Yankees twice, also against the Cardinals and the Angels. Now, on Miami's side, they will start Jesus Luzardo. Now, he skipped the start in order to get some extra rest because his manager probably felt like he showed some signs of fatigue. Now, just for fun, I wondered if in his career Luzardo pitched better with extra rest or not, or versus a normal rest. And the answer seems to be no, because his career ERA is 4.30. Now, if you focus only on games where he had extra rest, that I defined as being 6+ days of rest, his ERA in those games was 4.31. So that's pretty much identical to his 4.30 career ERA. Now, what else did I have about this game? Oh, also, Luzardo is 0-2 against the Rays in his career. Now, in his last start, he was great as he shut out the Padres in San Diego in 6 innings pitched. However, in his prior 3 starts, that's when he showed some signs of fatigue because he allowed 16 earned runs in 12 1/3 innings, which corresponds to an ugly 11.68 ERA. So again, he's a pretty good pitcher. Maybe he's getting tired a little bit. So I know he's coming off a shutout against the Padres, but the strong Rays offense could get to him. So that's why my second pick today, let me remind you again, is the Tampa Bay Rays straight up at the Miami Marlins. And now, what is the other team that fits under the blowout number 1 system? Let's look at the very bottom here. The Dodgers beat Arizona by an 8-run margin yesterday. And since they are facing the same squad, we are taking the LA Dodgers. And again, this is an official pick. After digging deeper, I do like this play. Let me say a few more arguments supporting this pick. Now, rookie Brandon Pfaadt will start for Arizona. He has a bad 5.91 ERA, but I have to admit that he has a decent 1.36 WHIP statistics. So that's the walks plus hits per inning pitch. The league average is 1.30, and Pfaadt's number is 1.36. So he's just slightly worse than average, but not by much. Also, he is coming off his first career win, so hats off to him. A game in which he allowed 2 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings against the Reds. And if you take a look at his past 7 outings combined, his ERA is 3.48. So he seems to be getting used to pitching in the big leagues. He has done a better job of late. But can you guess? In those 7 starts where he played pretty well, there is just 1 outing where he struggled. And can you guess what the opponent was? That's right, the LA Dodgers that he's facing again today. And this time on the road. If I'm not mistaken, the only time he faced them was at home. In that game, he allowed 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings against the LA Dodgers. Now, LA will counter with Ryan Pepiot. Last year, as a rookie, he owned a pretty good 3.47 ERA. Now, this season, he has only 2 appearances, and in both cases, he surrendered just 1 earned run in 4 and 5 innings pitched, respectively. So, in other words, this year, he has allowed 2 runs in 9 innings. He has done a pretty fine job. Now, obviously, he's a bit inexperienced. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but I still trust the Dodgers because LA in August, they have been on fire with a 23-4 record this month. And one more thing I like about this bet is the psychological factor for Arizona. Not only did they lose the first 2 games of this series, but they lost them with their ace pitchers on the mound, Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. And to me, that could be pretty deflating for Arizona. I don't think they are very confident about this upcoming game for today. Again, I know the odds are not super exciting with the Dodgers. I believe I got minus 160 with Bet365 Sportsbook at around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, I apologize if the line has moved up or down. It's not necessarily exact, but those are the odds that I got earlier and that I shared with my paid members at mjpicks.com earlier today. All right, now I want to talk to you about a 4th potential play, which concerns the famous scoring drought betting system, who, I want to remind you, has presented a 33-3 record lately. Now, it lost the Seattle bet yesterday, but still winning 33 out of 36 bets is incredible. Now, let me remind you the rules before we look at which team may qualify. Fade the road team if they lost their past 2 games by scoring 2 runs or less in each of those defeats, and their money line today must be greater than plus 150 in American format, which is the same as 2.50 in decimal. Now, let me share my screen and let's take a look at the Cincinnati Reds schedule. Now, today they are indeed on the road. They are playing at San Francisco. And they did lose their past 2 games by scoring 2 runs or fewer. In fact, as you can see, they lost 6-1 and 4-1 in the last 2 contests. Now, the final criterion here is their money line today must be greater than plus 150. And at the time that I was preparing this video, like an hour ago, the sports book with the best available line on Cincinnati was plus 146 with Pinnacle. So it's not above the plus 150 threshold. I don't know if it's going to change later today, but right now it does not qualify. But still, I'm going to keep an eye on this game. So I decided to analyze this game just in case. So for now, let me show you this image. This is just a lean, okay? I am not making it an official pick yet. And I will keep an eye on it. And if I change my mind, I will alert all of you who are signed up at mjpicks.com, of course. Now, let me tell you some information about this game other than the fact that the Giants are pretty close from qualifying under the scoring drought system. Well, Hunter Green will start for the Reds. He's a pitcher that I like quite a bit. He strikes out a lot of batters. Now, he missed 2 months with a hip injury, and he's been crushed in both of his starts since returning to action. He allowed 5 runs at Arizona and 9 runs against Toronto. Wow. Now, he's a pretty young and promising pitcher, but there could be some bumps on the road for the rest of this current 2023 season, unfortunately. But for future seasons, I feel like he could be a pretty solid starting pitcher. Now the Giants will send Logan Webb to the mound. Now he had trouble dealing with the best offense in the league in his past 2 starts. He was unfortunate enough to play against the Braves in both of his last 2 starts, and things did not go very well for him. But prior to that, he allowed 3 runs or less in 7 of 8 outings. So basically, he's a pretty reliable guy. He's done a very fine job in pretty much all of his career in Major League Baseball. You can count on this guy. So to me, if the line goes above plus 150 on the Reds, I might get tempted, or even if it does not go above plus 150, I might pull the trigger. I'm not sure as of yet. But keep an eye on this game. Anyway, I'm going to let you make your own decision as always. So all I do with this Professor MG channel is tell you about my own bets, my own thoughts, but it's also important that you make your own decisions so that you don't regret some picks. I don't necessarily recommend that you follow everything I do blindly. All right, and before, so I'm going to recap the 4 betting recommendations that I've made in a few minutes, in maybe 1 minute. But for now, I just want to remind you that I have released my famous and lucrative 2023 NFL team win totals. And so this is based on a huge statistical analysis where I simulate the 2023 NFL season 1 million times. And I have found 15 solid value wagers that I've decided to break down as follows. I view 5 of them as being great bets, 7 of them are good bets, and 3 of them are acceptable bets. Now, if you are interested, I'm going to post a link in the comments below and in the description of this video. This package is based on really a big statistical analysis and on the comparison of the odds from lots of sports books. Okay, there are many hours of work behind this, and to me this is worth several hundreds of dollars, but I'm sharing it for you for 97 bucks. All right, so like I said, it's based in part on a simulation study of 1 million times. So basically what I did is there are 2 sports books that I found, and that was Caesars and I can't remember which one was the other one. They have already released their lines on all regular season games in the NFL for the upcoming season. Now, when you know the point spreads of a specific game, that tells you the implied probability of winning for both teams. So for example, if a team is favored by 7 points, well, maybe they have a 70% chance of winning and their opponent has a 30% chance of winning. So what I did is I wrote a program with the statistical software called R, where I am telling it to simulate the first game. So like I said, the first game of the season is the Detroit Lions against the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs are 7-point favorites. So my program will simulate this game by giving the Chiefs I don't remember the exact probability, but around 70% chance of winning. The Lions have a 30% chance of winning. Now we come up with a winner. And then we repeat the same thing for all regular season games. I believe there are 272 games. Sorry if I'm mistaken. This is just a number off the top of my head. And once the season is finished simulating, I told the program to count the number of wins by each team. And then I repeated that process 1 million times. Okay, so this program ran for hours before giving me the results. And so if I remember correctly, the Chiefs' win total for this year is 11.5. Okay, so they are projected to win 11.5 games this year. So I looked at the results from my analysis. How many times did they go over 11.5 wins? and how many times did they go under. And that's one of the key components in my picks for this year and all of the prior years. And pretty much every single year I've done this, I've made a profit. This is a very great methodology to beat the sports books here. So if you're interested, I'll share those picks with you for just 97 bucks. To me, this is really a great bargain given the absurd number of hours devoted to this analysis. All right, so I want to end by recapping all the picks for you in case you missed the early part. So up first, we're taking the Chicago Cubs at home against Milwaukee due to the snapped winning streak system that has performed great this year. Pick number 2, supported by the blowout number 1 system, is the Tampa Bay Rays, and that same betting strategy also points in the direction of the LA Dodgers. But again, to me, one of the key factors here is the fact that I feel like Arizona is deflated after losing with Zach Gallen and then Merrill Kelly on the mound. And finally, I am keeping an eye on the Giants. I am tempted to take them because they are super close from qualifying under the scoring drought system. All right, so I want to say a big hello to many of you who showed up. Alan Miles, hi my friend. Alan Smetana, oh yes freak, from Scottsdale, Arizona is here again. I believe this guy has been here for every live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Zada Better is here as well. Keith Davis, class in session. You're right, my friend. Nemo, one of my biggest followers. I like to read you pretty much every day in the comments after my videos. Oh, by the way, so I see a question here by my friend Nemo. Why not bet Seattle again? Yeah, that's a great question. Well, let's take a look at, I suppose you're talking about the scoring drought system, perhaps. Sorry if I misunderstood you, but you're wondering why we're not taking Seattle again. And the reason is, so this system recommends focusing on the road team. So you need to fade the Oakland A's in this case if they lost their past 2 games by scoring 2 runs or less. And that's clearly not the case because yesterday the A's won the game and they scored 3 runs if I'm not mistaken. So so this system does not apply today. That's why I am not taking Seattle for today. All right, we have Primetime Yoke that says he likes the Reds today. That's fine. I really respect your opinion, my friend. Thanks for showing up. We have Argenis, who won one of my prediction contests earlier. He says, Saludos, hermano, desde Venezuela. So he's coming from Venezuela. So that's great to have a fan in Venezuela. Larry Kelly, who says, let's close the month of August out with a bang. Larry Kelly is probably my biggest fan. I appreciate you so much for being so positive every single day and watching my videos. You are the best, Larry. Thank you so much. Luis Guerrero says, good morning. We have William. Oh, William is also asking, why not take Seattle today? I hope I just answered that question correctly. If not, if you have more questions, by the way, you can ask in the comments for the replay of this video. Oh, and we have Arthur Mead Jr. who just gave me $5. I know that YouTube allows making donations during live streams. Man, I appreciate what you did a lot, Arthur. You are so great. Thank you so much. And Doug JB67 says, thank you for your professional and humble approach to sports betting. I like that you never use lock, can't miss, guaranteed winner. Oh man, I'm glad that you're talking about this. Thank you so much for pointing it out. I really, really hate it when some people pretend as if a bet is 100% guaranteed to win. I mean, there are no locks. For those of you who followed me last year, I don't know if you remember, I can't remember his username, I'm really sorry. He came twice, like trolling me in the comments and saying, man, this pick is trash, it's guaranteed to lose, blah, 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 blah. And in both cases, what he said was wrong, even though in both cases, he was taking the favorite and I had the underdog. So you never know, okay? Don't, and it's not fair to tell people that their picks are trash. I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen, let's be honest. So all we do is we do our best and just respect everyone's opinion. That's the way to go in my mind anyway. So thanks for pointing it out. I appreciate it. Jason Walton, hello my friend. All right, so that will be it for me today. A big thank you for showing up. I appreciate all of you and I wish you a great Wednesday. So I'll be back for the next couple of days with some pre-recorded videos. I believe there are like just 3 or 4 games on the menu tomorrow in Major League Baseball, which is quite unusual. But hopefully I will find a good bet for you. Thank you so much. I'm Professor MJ, a 15-year university stats teacher from Canada. Cheers, my friend.